Hello, everyone. Long time no see. It is I, Chris with a K, and I am here yet again with another Evil Dead video. And I know it's been a while. I still haven't had a chance to finish filming and editing the videos that I have planned for my YouTube channel, but I felt like this is something that needed to be addressed ASAP. Um, Fresh off the press, some interesting stuff going on with Evil Dead the game. Um, but first, we need to backtrack it a little bit. We need to take it back to another asymmetrical game that came out, and that is Friday the 13th, the game. So, when Friday the 13th, the game came out and it was on Kickstarter, there is an exclusive in game item that fans could get if they pre ordered or backed the game via Kickstarter, and that was a skin for Jason Voorhees designed to look like, it was a concept idea of what would Jason look like when he was in hell. And it was designed by legendary horror special effects makeup artist Tom Savini. And the only way you could get that skin is if you got the game via the Kickstarter. Now, somehow there was some sort of issue later on where someone leaked the skin. They somehow were able to put the skin in the store for a limited time, and the powers that be did the best to shut that shit down because they wanted it to be fair. They specified that this skin was an exclusive, and then no one else would be able to get it, and the only way to get it is via Kickstarter. And I am forever sad that I missed out on that because I wanted to back the Kickstarter. I don't remember what the issue was going on for me, but I wasn't able to back the Kickstarter in time, and so I missed out on a lot of really cool stuff for Friday the 13th, the game, and I'm still kicking myself over it. So when Boss Team Games announced cool stuff for Evil Dead the game that was going to be exclusive, I was adamant that I was not going to miss out. I was not able to get the Ultimate Collector's Edition, but thankfully the only difference between the Ultimate Collector's Edition and the regular Collector's Edition was the Trick or Treat Studios Necronomicon. I will say, however, I just found out from my co-host G Stewart on Hail to the Deadites, she got the Ultimate Collector's Edition, and her Trick or Treat Studios Necronomicon that came with that actually looks better than the one I got straight from Trick or Treat Studios. Hers actually looks like the photos. Because sometimes when you get a product, sometimes the product looks better in the promotional pictures and videos as opposed to the final product that gets in your hands. Sometimes the prototypes look better. Hers actually looks like exactly how it does in the photos online, and there's a nice glossy wash over it that really brings out the details and whatnot. Mine, the paint job is good, but compared to hers, mine looks kind of dull compared to hers. I kind of like how hers looks better. So now I am kind of sad I missed out on that, but thankfully everything else is the same. With the collector's edition, you get the, I'm not gonna open it up, but you get the cool box, you get the t-shirt, you get the funny art cards, you get the DLC. First of all, you get the pre-order DLC with it, which is kind of by default because you pre-order the collector's edition. You get a season 1 pass, which gives you a lot of the DLC either at a discounted rate or for free, technically. You get a steelbook, and I'm trying to remember what else came with it. I'm trying to remember at the top of my head. Hold on. Let's see here. Give me a second, I'm gonna pull this up. It's loading. Come on. Okay, so this is everything you get. You get the base game, you get the Season 1 pass, which included 4 DLC packs at a discounted rate for Evil Dead the game. And I want to make a quick side note. Literally, like, the point of this video today is this is going to be kind of a rant, but it's not a rant against Evil Dead the game or against Saber Interactive or Boss Team Games. It's a rant against the fanboys, the toxic side of the fandom. So the toxic fanboys and the toxic gamers that are complaining about stuff that I personally feel they should not be complaining about, because it's like people just need to learn to read, and it's like people want to make excuses. If you have the time to go on social media and bitch and moan under a social media post by a company for products, you have the time to have looked at the information that they posted, flat out telling you what's going on. So I remember people were complaining about the latest DLC, which it had Ruby, it had the Jacksonville, Florida Ash and Pablo skins and new weapons and other stuff, but the DLC that you had to pay for essentially was Ruby. People were complaining about that. They were like, why is this not free? Why is this not included with the season pass? Because if you go back and look, it said 4 DLC packs with the season pass. We've made it past 4. That's the reason why that was not included in the season pass. Anyways, moving on, there was the full-size Evil Dead 2 Necronomicon replica, the Steelbook case, the soundtrack on vinyl, which I realized that was a whole saga that people kept bitching about, and it's like, I thought that was silly as well. People complaining, like, I understand wanting something as soon as possible, but they were transparent as best as they could be the whole way. They warned us before we got the game, hey, unfortunately, when your collector's edition arrives, the vinyl's not going to be with it. There are some issues beyond our control. Like, the issues had nothing to do with them. It was outside of their control. There was nothing they could do. It was out of their hands. They had to deal with the vinyl industry as opposed to them specifically. And they gave us a digital download of the soundtrack with 2 bonus songs. And the same thing that they sent an email, they gave you a letter inside the collector's edition. So I feel like they had that covered. An exclusive t-shirt, which I'll talk about that in a second. The exclusive art card set. I can't believe my brain was trying to figure out what else was in there. The freaking amazing hardcover art book for the game. And what's cool about this is that it's not just an art book. There's interviews and insight into the making of the game. It's almost like a behind the scenes making of game book. Like, there's interviews with the cast of OG Evil Dead actors who return to voice their characters. There's interviews with Saber Interactive and the work they did on the game in addition to artwork. It's a really great book. And then of course the exclusive the box and the meat of our story today, the exclusive Savini variant in-game Ash skin. And so the reason why I gave you the backstory about Friday the 13th is because when this collector's edition came out, they were like, hey, a lot of people liked the Savini Jason that was done for Friday the 13th, the game. Let's do something with Evil Dead the game. And before, there's comments saying like, oh, so they just ripped off a Friday the 13th the game. Yes and no. I don't know how public this knowledge is, but I know it is in the art book for Evil Dead the game. But it's like, if you didn't get the art book, how would you know? The art book mentions how some of the folks at Boss Team Games were involved with the creation of Friday the 13th the game. I don't know exactly what level. I know they're not Ilphonic, and I know they're not Gun Media, but I know they at some level worked in conjunction with them, according to, again, the art book for Evil Dead the game. So it makes sense that they would be like, well, let's try and do this thing again, but for Evil Dead. And so they tasked Tom Savini to create a skin for Ash in Evil Dead the game. And it's like, I'll admit, the very first time I saw this image, I was like, It was okay. But the more I looked at it, the more it grew on me, and especially when we got to see what it actually looked like. Where the idea is, what if Ash stormed the gates of hell to fight the Kandarian demons, and he had an outfit or look that reflected being in the hellish landscape? So, he's got, crazy looking eyes. He's got some gnarly new scars. He's wrapped up like a mummy. He's got barbed wire on him and spikes and all sorts of stuff. I think it's a pretty cool design, and I think the inspirations behind it were pretty cool. I know, like, obviously, it's like the Crow and the Cenobites from Hellraiser and a few other things. I'm not going to read through this whole article, but I'll post a link to it in the description below. But I thought it was a cool design. But then people started going crazy. When the collector's edition was announced, there were a lot of people who were getting angry for whatever reason about different aspects of the collector's edition. And personally, I thought it was silly how mad people were getting. You had people that were like, oh, I gotta pay $150 just to get the vinyl, or oh, I gotta pay $150 just to get the Savini skin. And in my opinion, it's like, why are you looking at it like that? Like, why is your brain working the way that it is to look at it as, I'm paying $150 to get this one thing? No, you're paying $150 to get all these things. And it's a value. Because if you think about it, if you think about how much all of these different things would cost on their own individually, it would be way more than $150. Games, the base game was like $40 to $60. T-shirts are $40 these days. They're between $20 and $40 depending on who made the shirt, the material, and like the company. The Necronomicon itself is almost $100 right there. A steelbook is a decent amount of money, probably $20 or more. A hardcover book is $30 to $40. The DLC costs money. The box probably costs money. Those art cards probably would be between $15 and $20. So you have to think about how much all the things together would cost and how much money realistically you would be saving getting this collector's edition, as opposed to if they sold all the items in the collector's edition separately. And then on top of that, I don't understand how people have gotten to this point where you have a collector's edition and you complain about it because it's a collector's edition. If you're not a fan, and I'm not talking, not to sound like a gatekeeper, but I'm not talking about like a quote unquote filthy casual or, like a low level fan or just a fan. I'm talking like if you are a fan, like a hardcore fan, and with Evil Dead specifically, if you, like many other hardcore Evil Dead fans, own multiple copies of the same movies, because Evil Dead is notorious for being released and re-released and re-released and re-released in 20 million different formats for each entry into the franchise. And you have t-shirts and action figures and pop vinyls and posters and all that bullshit, and you want to go to conventions and meet the actors and writers and directors. I don't understand. Then if you're not that type of fan, then the collector's edition is not meant for you, and the stuff in it is not meant for you. You just want the base game, or maybe even the deluxe edition of the game. But the collector's edition is not marketed towards a lower tier fan, essentially. Not a casual fan or just like a regular fan. It's marketed towards hardcore fans. Fans are going to look at the different items and be like, oh my god, this is cool. I love that. I want this. And not just, oh, I want one item out of there. If you want one item out of there and you don't want to pay for the full thing, then what you can do, because there are people known as scalpers out there You can wait until some jerk buys a collector's edition, separates all the stuff, and sells each individual item for double its price on eBay. I've seen people get mad that they had to wait for the vinyl because that was the only thing they wanted. If the vinyl was the only thing you wanted, why did you buy the collector's edition? You know how the game works. No pun intended. You know there are going to be people that are going to buy it and sell individual pieces. You could have just waited until the vinyl showed up on eBay and bought it off that way. I guarantee if I go on eBay right now, I can find it. In fact, let's see real quick. Let's see. Sure enough, somebody's already selling it for $300, which is ridiculous. Some selling it for $100. Someone else is selling the entire collector's edition with the vinyl for $500. $450. It's on eBay. You could have waited until after the vinyl was released and then went online. But even then, you're still gonna be paying a shit ton of money for it. So honestly, you got the better deal by paying for the collector's edition and getting all the crazy cool stuff that comes with it in addition to the vinyl, because now people are selling the vinyl for ridiculous amounts of money on eBay. Ridiculous amounts of money. So all the bitching and moaning and complaining about it is like unwarranted in my opinion. But that gives us to another item in the collector's edition, which is the Savini skin. Now, people were complaining about the Savini Ash skin because they felt it was unfair that a skin that they wanted to use in the game was exclusive to a collector's edition. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that's the whole point of an exclusive. It's for a limited time, only available to so many people at a certain time, and once people get that, it's gone. Now, there are some cases in life where something that is considered limited edition or exclusive, sometimes there might be extras. It happens. That's just how it is. In terms of this design was meant to only be a part of the collector's edition for Evil Dead the game. But what happened? People cried and they bitched and they moaned all over social media, acting like spoiled little entitled baby brats, demanding to get this. And you know what they did? They did something that I felt was nice. Boss Team Games and Saber Interactive did something that I thought was nice, but completely unnecessary, and I thought was unwarranted. They said that even though that skin was exclusive and would only be available to people who got the collector's edition, they said, we might make an alternate design to be available at a later date. And they did. They didn't have to, but they did. They did what they could to be nice and appease the people that were being assholes, grabbing their torches and pitchforks and demanding that they get this skin. So what they did was they had Tom Savini do another design, and it's called the Savini Ash Variant Skin. And I'll be honest, there are elements of this skin that I think are cooler than the collector's edition. I prefer the black of the fabric, but I like the eyes a little bit more. The yellow eyes I think I like a little bit more than the red eyes. Like, hold on a second. Let me pull up a comparison photo. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the black and red eyes as well, but I like the fabric more than I like the red fabric. But I do like the black drip around the eyes, and I like the harness slash holster that he has. I like that way more than I like everything else on the original design. But they made an alternate design to make people happy. And furthermore, they didn't make it so it was like, okay, well, here's just a skin that you can buy. They said, order this t-shirt and you get a code for the skin. And here we go, yet again, in another scenario where people aren't using their brains and are doing mental gymnastics to find a way to bitch about something, which is ridiculous to me. People were looking at it as, oh, I gotta pay $30 to $40 for a skin. The same way people were saying, oh, I gotta pay $150 for a skin. You're not paying $40 for a skin. You're paying $30 to $40 for a t-shirt, essentially, which makes sense. The average pop culture t-shirt, if you order it online or you go in a physical store like Hot Topic, which this is a shirt I would definitely see being sold in Hot Topic, it's $30 to $40. Essentially what they said was, pay $30 to $40 and get this for this t-shirt, which is the standard, like I said, the standard price for a pop culture t-shirt, and you get a card that has the code for the skin on it. On one hand, I understand looking at it as, oh, I'm paying $30 and $40 for the skin, but that's not all you're getting. You're getting a t-shirt, which is the reason why the way I feel it should be looked at is you're paying $30 to $40 for the t-shirt, and it comes with the skin. And not only that, you get like a little, almost like a trading card with it as well. And the funny thing to me is, and now I do have a nitpick with some of this stuff. So before anyone accuses me of, sucking the boomstick, for lack of a better term or phrase, of Boss Team Games and Saber Interactive and Evil of the Game, or saying I'm biased just because I'm a fan, there are issues I have with some elements of the game and some decision making behind the marketing and the merchandise and content for the game. I have plenty of issues, although I feel like most of my issues are nitpicky, and I feel like a lot of other people's issues are just flat out bitching. So where my issue comes in from my personal experience with this is, they had it set up so you could order it online, and before October, because October is when you were able to have access to the skin, where you put the code in and download and use it in the game, and I think shirts arrive before October. So San Diego Comic-Con was in July, and I was working a booth, and I stopped by the booth for Boss Team. I did, to clarify, I was working a booth separate from Boss Team Games. I was working for another company. I was working for Marvel, and I visited the Boss Team Games booth because I saw that they were selling the t-shirts and the codes there. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I was like, I'd rather just get it in person than ordering it online. I did not know that what they had of the shirt and the card with the code at San Diego Comic-Con was different than what people would get ordering online. Had I known that, if I had the extra spending money, I would have done both. And I'm going to explain why, because I'm a mega nerd. I'll explain why I would have done both. So, first of all, here is an image of someone who did the normal version of the order. So the standard version of the shirt and the code, this is what the shirt looks like, and that's what the card looked like. And then I believe I have an image of the back of the card as well. Hold on a second. This is the back of the card. And the back of the card looks nice. It has like a little protector case for it. It might even be sturdy material, I don't know, because I don't have this. And it says like #1 on the back, and it has like cool information about it. It's like a trading card. So essentially, people paid $30 to $40 for a t-shirt and a trading card that comes with the skin. Now, my shirt, however, I want to point something out here. Look at how big the print is on the shirt from the online order versus my shirt, which I got from San Diego Comic-Con. If you notice, the design on the shirt that I have is much smaller than the design that people got from the online order. The San Diego Comic-Con shirt, the design is smaller. And I believe the material for the printing is a little bit different, because if you look closely at this and then you look closely at the online order shirt, there's some slight variations in the printing of the material. But I would prefer to have the design be bigger, because look at this. It's small on the shirt versus the other version where it's much larger. And then on the back, it says Evil of the Game, San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Which was cool, because that means like, okay, this shirt is exclusive. So like this shirt is truly different and unique than the online order. Which I do like, but I wish the front print would be as big as the online version. Also, a quick side note, they've had multiple shirts now. There's the shirt that came with the collector's edition, and then they were selling a few different shirts at I think there were 3 to 4 shirts in total being sold at their booth at San Diego Comic-Con. The material of the shirts I do not like. They don't feel very comfortable, and they run kind of hot, I feel like. Now, granted, I will admit I'm kind of spoiled by other companies, because this type of material is exactly the type of t-shirt material I grew up wearing in middle school, in high school, in the beginning of college. But now there are t-shirts with much better material, and I wish that the material for the Evil of the Game shirts would be the same quality of material that you find on like Fright Rags. And Fright Rags and Evil of the Game have collaborated on a t-shirt. They did a short sleeve version of a long sleeve t-shirt that you could get from Fright Rags. But which I think the long sleeve t-shirt is cooler anyway. You know, originally I was like, oh man, that's cool, they got an exclusive version of the shirt, but the long sleeve version of the shirt actually has graphics on the sleeves, and the short sleeve version does not. So if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather go with the long sleeve version. Actually, let me see real quick. Oh, as you can see, this is the design that I'm talking about that they did a t-shirt of for Evil of the Game and Fright Rags. And then if you look, there is a design on the sleeves. Something you don't get with the t-shirt version. So honestly, I would prefer the long sleeve over the t-shirt version anyway. And it's a really comfortable shirt that I could wear if it's cool out or even warm out with the long sleeves because of the material. I wish that they would go with material similar used by Fright Rags. Like, just make a deal with Fright Rags and do a run of Evil Dead the Game shirts with their printing and material and whatnot. But anyways, the other thing I want to show is the art card. So I don't think I was able to find a picture closer of the front. Here we go. This is the best I can do of the front of the art card. So it's got an image of the Savini Ash Variant Skin, and it's in blood red, the whole image, and there's deadites behind him. Really cool image. The card that they were handing out at San Diego Comic-Con is just the basic promo image that they have of the Savini Ash Variant Skin. And the material is a little flimsy. And the back is just information about redeeming the skin and like telling you like this is the Savini Ash skin, that's it. Whereas the other art card actually is almost like I said, like a trading card, the way it's designed and the information they have on it. Personally, I prefer the online order. So that's two things of the physical product related to the Savini Variant Ash that I prefer that people got from ordering online versus getting it in person at San Diego Comic-Con. Although I am grateful that I was able to get mine signed by Tom Savini at the convention. The other thing I want to talk about, that's my personal gripe with it, is why is it that if you are purchasing a shirt for the variant skin of Savini Ash, why is the shirt of the collector's edition of Savini Ash and not the variant? Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. To me, it would have made more sense for the Savini Ash t-shirt to have been a part of the collector's edition of Evil Dead the game. Like, you know, maybe you get two shirts. Like, you get the shirt that already comes with it, and then you get the Savini Ash skin shirt. Or, if they weren't able to put it in the box, be like, hey, everyone that got the collector's edition, not only do you get this cool Savini Ash skin, but we made a t-shirt of the skin. And we're going to send that, we're going to mail that out to you. It makes no sense to me that the t-shirt that you get for the variant skin is of the original skin. To me, that's backwards. It's like you get a t-shirt of the original skin and a trading card of the variant skin and the code for the variant skin. That seemed backwards to me. But moving on, let's get to the main issue of why I have this long ass video about this situation. So, the Savini Ash Variant Skin was announced in like July, or a little bit earlier than July. It was announced, but like the pre-orders were available in July when San Diego Comic-Con was around. And then the skin was available for people to use in October, I believe. Pretty sure. Yeah, it was available in October. Because they had it, they said it was like in time for Halloween or whatever, yeah. So, yeah, October 21st is when it was available. So, October, November, December, January, February, March. It's been 6 months since the skin was available. Players have had six whole months of being the only ones who use that skin and can use that skin, which was like an exclusive. As of today, officially yesterday, Wednesday, the 22nd, But as of Wednesday the 22nd, they have released the skin publicly for people to buy for like $2 or $3, I think it is. And people are going nuts. They are going insane. You have a lot of people who are happy, both people who missed out on pre-ordering it via the t-shirt and the baseball card or trading card or whatever you want to call it, and you have people who already did own it and are happy that other people are able to get it. And then you have a bunch of people acting like deadites, screwhead deadites, that are extremely angry. They're like, I can't believe you would do this. I can't believe you would do such a thing. So what, we just paid $40 for nothing? So the t-shirt is worthless? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, you guys are freaking out for no reason. First of all, are you new here? Have you been living under a rock? Do you not know how video games and DLC work? For over the past decade, there's always been what we in the business call timed exclusives, where you have something that is exclusive for a certain amount of time, and then after that window of time is over, that thing that was exclusive is no longer fully exclusive. You've seen it with video games where they're like, oh, if you get this game on this console, you get this exclusive DLC for this console, and it's exclusive for a bunch of months to a year before other people can enjoy it. Or if you get this collector's edition, or if you do this thing for this DLC is limited and exclusive for this amount of time, and then later on other people will be able to enjoy it after a few months to a year. It's nothing new. It's literally been done for more than the past 10 years. And people are freaking out like this is some new idea, like this is some new concept, like this is some bad business practice. Well, I say you have bad brain practice if you think this is bad business practice, because this ain't nothing new. Boston Games and Saber Interactive did not invent the idea of having DLC that is exclusive for a short amount of time and then is available to anyone who wants it after a while. I can understand being mad if it was the original Savini Ash Skin that they said was locked to people who got the collector's edition. Then I could understand being upset. But the fact that this is the alternate skin that, may I remind you, was never originally planned. It was never originally planned. They made it to appease people who were bitching in the first place. There's a lot of people who who in my opinion don't deserve to have the skin because of how much crying they did over the collector's edition. And they got this. And now they're doing more crying because they're not fully part of the exclusive club. It's like tough Henrietta Titty, the milk tastes shitty. I'm sorry. The OG Savini Ash Skin locked exclusive to the collector's edition. The red variant made as a, okay, you guys are mad you didn't get that. Let's try and find a way to have fair common ground here. Let's be fair to the people who own the collector's edition, but also be fair to the whiny baby back bitches who are crying over spilt milk that they don't have this exclusive when all they had to do was just shell out the money for the collector's edition. But I don't want to pay $150 for his skin because, you know, somehow they just want the skin and they don't want anything else in the collector's edition, which, whatever. people still, it's like there's no pleasing people. It's like the saying goes, you can't please everyone. And it's like, even the people that you are trying to please, you give someone something they asked for and they still bitch about it. It's like someone saying, oh, I would like a slice of pepperoni pizza, please. And you give them a slice of pepperoni pizza and they're like, oh, I wanted more pepperoni. this isn't enough pepperoni. There could be you could probably barely see any of the cheese, sauce, and crust on that slice of pepperoni pizza, and they'll still be like, I need more pepperoni. There's not enough. Like, it's just the, the insane sense of entitlement from some people. It boggles my mind. It makes no sense to me. Like, I'm happy that there are a bunch of people that can now get the variant skin. More power to you, because there's all sorts of reasons why people may have missed out on being able to get the first run of it. And it's like, they get it for $2 or $3. Now, people are mad about that because they're like, oh, I spent all this money. It's like, again, remember, no, you didn't spend all that money on the skin. You spent all that money on a t-shirt and a trading card that granted you access to the skin. If you look at it as, I just paid a bunch of money for the skin, that's on you. That's your fault for viewing it that way. And like, people are mad because it's like, oh, they're just trying to get money. Like, no fucking shit. Like Wu-Tang said, cash rules everything around me. Everybody needs money. Everybody needs to make money. And a business has to find creative and unique ways to make money. They knew that if they were to just post the skin online, 6 months ago, for just $2 or $3, then everybody would be buying it like crazy. Honestly, it might have been a smarter business move to just have it open, ready, and available, so then everybody who wanted it could get it. But they wanted to make it kind of a special experience by having it be exclusive and unique for a certain amount of time. So that's the reason why it was like, hey, how can we make this unique? Let's make a t-shirt. Granted, I think they fumbled on the shirt in more ways than one. I think the quality of the shirt isn't the best. I think the design isn't the best. I think the design should have been this image of the Ash that you're getting, as opposed to the Ash that was exclusive to the collector's edition. And I think that in lieu of that, they should do another run of t-shirts, but with this image, and not charge $40 for it, especially if it's going to be the same material as before. But it's like, you got a t-shirt and a trading card, and they granted you exclusive 6-month access. All right, was it 6 months? Yeah, 6 months access to the skin. And then they were like, all right, we can release it to everybody else now. I don't understand why people are so upset about it. It makes no sense to me. And you know what? I don't want to try to understand, because there's nothing to understand. Because I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Being upset about it is stupid. And if it seems harsh for me to say that, I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm not getting a paycheck for any of the stuff that I say or do in regards to Evil Dead in any form of capacity. If I were getting paid to talk about Evil Dead, then I would probably be a little bit nicer with my words. But I mean, I've gotten heat from other gamers for nicely saying that it's silly that people were getting mad about it. You know, people are calling me stupid for acting like it's not an issue. But I'm sorry, the people that are bitching about it, you guys are being screwheads. You guys, there's no other way to sugarcoat it. There's no other way to talk about it. You being screwheads. We had the skin exclusive for 6 months, and now it's open and ready and available for other fans who would like to enjoy it. And I say go enjoy it. And the other thing that I think is silly about it is, when you play the game, how many Evil Dead 2 Ashes, or I hate calling them by the nickname that some of the gamers have come up with. I hate Lash, Wash, Sash, and Hash. I think they're stupid nicknames. Like, I get it. It's a quick and easy way to distinguish them. Like, but I hate it. I refuse to go over that. But anyways, how many Evil Dead 2 ashes or Hunter ashes or hashes do you see running around? I feel like when I play, I don't see Evil Dead 2 Ash a lot. I do not see Evil Dead 2 Ash a lot. I see almost every other character way more than Evil Dead 2 Ash. To the point where it's like I main my mains are Evil Dead 1 Ash and Evil Dead 2 Ash. And then depending on my mood, I'll switch it up and maybe I'll be David or Mia or Ash versus Evil Dead Ash or Avid Ash for short. But I rarely see Evil Dead 2 Ash. So people are getting all bent out of shape over this skin, like so many people are gonna be wearing it and playing. Like, give me a break. Like, Evil Dead 2 Ash isn't even played that much. Maybe now there'll be an increase of people playing as him because the skin is more open and available now. But before, from literally launch day up until now, I rarely see Evil Dead 2 Ash. It's like once in a blue moon with an orange slice. I don't know. That's just how I see it. I just think people are getting bent out of shape over the stupidest stuff with this game, and I think it's getting to a point where people are finding any excuse they can to bitch about the game because of whatever shitty personal experiences they're having with it. You know, everyone's like, and this is another thing that I think is stupid. I'm so tired of like the comments where it's like, you're releasing this content instead of fixing your game. Now I will admit I used to kind of be that person when it came to another asymmetrical game that I have permanently quit and will never ever go back to. But at the same time, that's because I felt that there were some major issues with that game that to this day have not been addressed. And if you know which game I'm talking about, all I'm going to say is hitboxes. Abysmal hitboxes in that game. Still to this day, how have you been alternating between improving, I put it in loose quotes, improving the game and adding content over 6 years, and your hitboxes are still terrible? Someone will be 20 yards away and they can still somehow get hit by a killer. It's just stupid to me. But anyways, enough about that game. Back to this game. Yeah, Evil Dead the game has some bugs and glitches and balancing issues, but do you really think they don't have a team of people actively working on trying to fix that stuff just because you haven't seen a fix for it yet? People forget that this isn't like an indie team. This isn't a AAA studio. And people also forget that the folks doing the hands-on work are from, like, Spain. Most of them probably don't even speak English. So there's a language barrier there. Like, it's ridiculous to me that, you know, you have people who play games and are quick to grab their torches and pitchforks whenever they don't get their way, and they don't understand how game design and development works. It baffles my mind. I wish there was more information out there to be like, hey, this is how making a video game works, so that you can understand and be patient when you bring something up that is an issue. It's going to take time to address. And before anyone goes like, oh, they fix this quickly, why is this taking long? Certain things are quicker to take care of than others. That's just how it is, you know. And like, I'll make another video about all this stuff because I don't want to spend all my time talking about it here, and this video is already long enough. But it just baffles my mind the way people act so entitled and are so vocal when they want to bitch and moan about the dumbest of dumb bullshit. It's so stupid to me. Anyways, Evil Dead the game is groovy. It's fun to play, especially if you know how to play. If you're a survivor, it's fun. If you have friends to play with, especially people who have mics and communicate with you. And if you get enough practice in and learn how to play as Demon, playing as Demon can be fun. And that is my mini review of the game. I'm doing a more in-depth review of the game later. And in conclusion, I think people are being screwheads about things that Boss Team Games and Saber Interactive are doing with this game, because they have no lives and they are sad, pathetic people who need to go online and talk shit about people who work on this game to make themselves feel better, because their existence is sad. And people need to learn how to have patience instead of being so quick to be angry over silly stuff. But anyways, Boss Team, Saber, you're doing just fine. There are some things that could be better, but for the most part, y'all are doing okay. Don't worry too tough about all the dumb bullshit people are saying. And the people that are saying dumb bullshit, go touch some grass, drink some water, or some tea, or smoke a doobie, something, mellow the fuck out. Just chillax, because you guys are getting upset over the dumbest of shit. Like, just, oh my god. Anyways, I'm gonna go eat and play the game. Maybe I'll stream, I don't know. But that's my rant about other people ranting about the Savini Ash Skin and the game overall. Stay groovy.